You mentioned that. Let's talk a little bit about that battle, because you're right. That's the big stage. Obviously, we're big time. We're a big deal. I know that, but let's face it, we're not.
No, we're kind of a big deal.
We're kind of a big deal, but we are not mainstream media, and that's a big deal. So how are you trying to infiltrate that as a small businessman, somebody who's been through that, entrepreneur? Talk us through how you're trying to take this idea and get it to somebody who may be not receptive to it, but it's going to help you get the word out.
I did something novel here, is that I formed two organizations. One is Wilson's Fountain. Wilson's Fountain is named for James Wilson. James Wilson wrote the Constitution. You probably never heard of him. James Wilson was one of the first Supreme Court justices, one of 6 founders to sign both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
I feel really
the words,
right
"We
now.
the people." He died bankrupt.
Is he talking about the US?
What?
Are you talking about the U.S.?
Yes.
No, we're feeling pretty dumb. Yeah.
Nobody heard of him. I say this never. You're not the only ones. He got
okay, good. Now I feel as dumb as everybody else. Ha! Take that, everybody.
My joke is that there's no statue of James Wilson to tear down.
That's actually funny.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Alan, we're back. Here we are. It feels like it's been weeks, but it's only been a week. For everybody listening, getting those downloads on Tuesday morning, listening up and reaching out and talking to me a little bit about what you've liked about some of these last episodes. We've had some good ones, Alan. We've had some good ones.
We've had some really good ones.
We've been all across the board. I'd say we've been kind of innovative in the way we've approached the way we do things, Alan.
There you go again.
That's right. We're teasing the audience a little bit. So we've had quite a time here as we've ramped up. But one of the things that we had a lot of fun with is we had a person running for governor. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger came on, and we had a lot of fun, and I've gotten a lot of buzz on that one.
Have you really?
I have. I had a couple people say, "I can't believe you actually got somebody like that on." I'm like, "Well, it's Alan's buddy," but
outpunted our company again.
I did have one guy say, "You know what? There's more to him than I thought."
Yeah.
What about that? So it came out good. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to all of our episodes afterwards just so I can self-abuse, but I mean, I'm like, this guy is just a good man, and he's trying to do the right thing. But he also has good business experience. He obviously is very intelligent. I mean, there was a lot to learn that you're not going to get in one of those little attack ads that everybody puts out.
Right. Soundbite management, all this, with politics especially, it's all governed by, it's craziness. It's the money speaks, and so that's where I wanted to tie this back into, is that we just couldn't stay out of the political arena, could we, Alan?
I know we're going to have to change genres.
That's right, everybody. We're not just doing small business anymore. We're not doing true crimes on this episode. Well, maybe we'll find out in a minute.
Or sex.
And we're not doing sex capades or whatever the other one I found out was beating us by the drum. But you're here to learn, man. You're here to get better every day, every week. Just keep getting better at what we're doing. Small business ownership, you depending on the message you're hearing at the time you're hearing them, it's either everything's going really good or everything's going really bad. But there's really no middle ground. And I would tell you, from a businessman's perspective here in Georgia, I'm not having a great time. It is not going like I thought it would. I thought we'd be growing a lot faster.
It's not all champagne and caviar, is it, Chris?
I've had to knock it down. So no caviar anymore, but I'm still sticking with my champagne.
Oh, good man.
Right. That's right.
You got to hang on to something.
All right, let's get into this one. This episode, guys, is going to be pretty interesting, really thought-provoking. We've got Tom Joseph on, who his latest adventure that he's working on is America's Party. Let me say it right.
No, you just already blew it. Why don't you let him do it?
Hey, Tom, what is it?
America's Main Street Party.
America's Main Street Party. So, Tom, tell everybody a little bit about what this is and what you're trying to start, and then we're going to backtrack a little bit.
America's Main Street Party, I guess the premise is that if the Republicans and Democrats aren't going to fix the election system, the primary system, we'll create a better nominating system and elect that person, and that we interject a fair contest into an unfair district and produce a more popular candidate.
This sounds like you are up against the evil empire. You're up against the establishment. You're up against literally half the world. If you think about the U.S. and our, and so how did you get this idea? And how did you think, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm jumping in after having a wildly successful entrepreneurial career.
This was not the concept I came up with. Was not originally what we did. My original idea was no idea. I was in the middle of COVID, and I was going to get some help from the government to make sure my company didn't go under, or nobody knew what was really going on. And I made a promise at the time that if I survived financially and physically the COVID, that I would do something under two conditions. I was not going to run for office, and I was not going to try to change the law. And my original concept was just to come up with a better political party, but it just didn't seem that much different than what we had. And I honestly made a joke one day that we do a better job selecting the next American Idol than we do the next representative of Congress. And it made me think, like, why can't we do the same thing? And everybody told me it's illegal. And then I figured out a way to shoehorn it into the system and do it without changing any laws.
So now I think we need to back up a little bit and tell everybody where he came from.
I think we need to the origin story has to begin.
Because where he is now is not where he started or even where he's built his career.
And that's clearly not where you went to college for, was to do this. Or have you always been a political leaning individual?
No, I wasn't. I was not. In fact, I would say until 1992, I was just ignorant of what was going on politically. That I grew up in Pittsburgh, went to Carnegie Mellon University for an engineering degree, went to work for Westinghouse in factory automation.
You don't sound like a Yinzer.
I can do it.
You can?
My mother will be upset, though, if I do it, especially if it's recorded.
That's really funny.
But no, I went to work for Westinghouse, and then went to a startup company in factory automation. But during that time, I kind of stumbled upon this idea. I was trying to help my father out. It was the dawn of the personal computer age. He'd lost his bookkeeper. I thought, hey, one of these PCs, we'll get some accounting software. But my 65-year-old dad and uncle weren't going to learn how to use this. So my sister basically bailed me out by saying, hey, I'll do it. She had small kids. She goes, but I can't really come in there. I'll get the information, take it back home. And it quickly realized we took this job, and he was paying somebody 30 hours a week to do it. She was doing it 3 hours a week. And the math went through my head. And I put this on the shelf for 7 years because that was 1984. I mean, the internet wasn't there. I kind of saw what was coming, and I launched Bookminders in 1991. I had one accounting course in my life. I got a C in it. It's not because it wasn't hard. It's just because I never thought I'd use it. I was taking thermodynamics and differential equations. Accounting is way easy. Everything's addition and subtraction.
Yeah.
But
hey, brother, I got the same thing. I got a mechanical engineering degree, and I came out. I was so proud of myself after getting my master's in mechanical. I was so proud that I took three total business classes. And here I am in business going, oh God, what was I doing?
That's not that hard. I just wasn't paying attention. I mean, really, I think I could have done better if I cared. But anyway, launch this company. I hire accountants. You have to have a 4-year degree, specialized in accounting. It's become a boutique bookkeeping shop. I mean, we handle kind of high-end applications. Each of our Bookminders works with anywhere from a half dozen to a dozen clients, being their part-time controller. We don't do taxes. We don't do audits, but we make the work of auditors and accountants, tax accountants, easy. So we tee it up for them, but we do a weekly processing. Prior to us, bookkeeping was a monthly thing that accounting firms did, and you got the data way after when you needed it. And we became very customer-centric and figured out if we could keep track of cash, if every week we told them what their cash balance was and kind of queued up their bills to pay, that it really freed the owners up to concentrate on growing the business. And I don't know, you run a business, your cash is king. You got to know what your cash is. And if you don't, it's a very unsecure feeling. So we put that kind of process in place for business owners, what they have, what they owe, who owes them when. And every week we give them a snapshot of that, and we try to get them in this weekly process of we do a mini closing like every week.
And this is a nationwide company, right? No.
Well, we were regional. We started in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Baltimore, Eastern Maryland, Austin, Texas, Indianapolis. We've actually expanded as our employees have moved. We really haven't. Philadelphia is the only like purposeful expansion where we, got investors and expanded. But everything else has been organic. We have over 100 employees now. Like I said, we're operating in 5 or 6 states. I've been personally, I own the business, but the team that runs this all-woman management team, our CEO is an award-winning executive. They take care of the business and are doing a great job managing it, and allowed me to free up my time and do this and pursue, America's Main Street Party and Wilson's Fountain.
So before we get into Main Street Party, I did see that your bookkeeping business is the #1 place to work in Pittsburgh.
We've been in Pittsburgh top workplace competition for the last 4 years. We finished first once, second 3 times. Our CEO won top leader 2 of the 4 years. This year, there's a very good chance we'll win it again.
Which is remarkable. And it's
a survey. It's not done by judges. It's a computer basically does surveys of all the employees, and they compare all this. So Pittsburgh Post-Gazette invests considerable money to conduct this, to the point where they went bankrupt. And I'm just kidding. They did go bankrupt, and they were just got purchased.
But we've got a lot of small business people listening out there. I mean, give us a nugget. What's the secret sauce to being? I mean, that is a huge award, and to do it consistently, not just a one-off.
We're one business that was started from day one, all about creating a flexible employment situation. And I'll tell you, the one thing that we do is we fire clients who don't treat our employees good.
Ooh, there's a gold nugget. Yeah, hard to do, easy to say, hard to do. I was just at a marketing educational class, continuing education class, and we were just talking about, can you fire clients? Easy to say, hard to do, but it is so important because your job as an owner or a salesperson or somebody in the front end is keeping those bad customers away from your good employees, because if you make good customers or good employees work with bad customers, they don't stay long.
Yeah. And so for us, we have an employee that's working with 6 to 12 clients. We get one bad client and screw up 11 relationships.
Amazing.
That is a strong gold nugget right there.
That is. Yeah. Strong one, man. You got to protect.
It was hard
your
to do the first time, but after we did it, it was like, you know what? This is the right thing. Especially with women. We have women, and a lot of our clients are unfortunate sometimes men that don't know how to treat women. We also have some awful women clients.
Right. Yeah. It's not gender specific. There are awful clients across the board.
People who suck everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Said that often. Yep. People suck. But
but the gender imbalance when it's a man and a woman, it has to be recognized.
It does. It's also a great point, because the diversity in the workforce is important, and sometimes men don't realize that, especially in the construction business, Alan.
Well, but I mean, he brings up a really good point. If it sounds like a lot of fun to fire a bad client, but when you're the business owner, you're trying to make payroll, and you're like, okay, but this job is worth X. It's hard to walk away from that. But you obviously stuck to your guns. You had the principle, and happy employees are going to generate more money.
It's a recurring revenue stream. I mean, we're walking away from, a revenue stream, but it's important.
That's amazing. So how many years have you had the Bookminders?
Bookminders, 35 years. Actually, yesterday was the mayor of Pittsburgh recognized Bookminders Day in Pittsburgh, May 4th, 2026.
Wow. May the 4th be with you. Yeah. Beautiful.
It happened to be the anniversary of our incorporation date, but
beautiful.
We got to talk to John. We got to have a Trusted Toolbox Day.
I know. I want a Trusted Toolbox Day in
Johns Creek.
Johns Creek. You know what? I'm going to go for the state. Then again, I don't have 100 employees, and I definitely have not been voted the best place to work. That's another story.
Yeah.
So
different pod.
So you're cranking along, Bookminders, doing your thing, and then you said, well, you know what? I've got time on my hand. I've always thought about this. COVID hit. I'm going to keep going against. I want to go. How did you tilt against this windmill? Because I mean, this is a Don Quixote thing. If you're asking me, I mean, it seems It seems like
You're not the first person to use that analogy.
Yeah. We're tilting at windmills, people.
1-0. Good
Thank you.
job. That's nice.
So here we go. Let's get the word out. Let's talk about what this is and what's going on. Let's figure out how you're doing this.
I just thinking outside the box. And I think if I actually was a political person or a lawyer, I may have never thought of this idea. But I went chugging along with this idea, this contest. My election attorney was actually running for Congress, was not really paying attention to what I was doing. And my original thought is that the party would fund the contest winner, and that actually would be illegal. And the parties do get out the vote, but they can't say get out and vote for Joe or get out and vote for Don. And so the original idea I had wouldn't work. And I never considered, even my attorney say, hey, you should think about a super PAC, but a super PAC can't run the contests that I was designing. And so, but what happened was he loses his bid for Congress. Actually, he lost the primary. I think it was must have been 4 years ago. And he lost his bid for the primary. And I sit down with him. He said, this is not legal, Tom. You can't do it this way. I go, what about the Senate Republican election fund? Why can't I use one of those? And he goes, it's not a fund. I go, what do you mean? He said, it's a list of people that buy Congress every 2 years. It's not an actual fund. It just doesn't sound as good if you describe it that way. That's the reality of this. These funds that the super PAC donors have are not funds. They're just a list of people that are pulling the strings on the reelection fund. And I went home and I frankly had 3 bourbons, and I was...
Amen.
Cheers.
Cheers in that.
And I all of a sudden wrapped my head around the idea of using a super PAC. And I was like, wow, this is a great idea, because this uses a super PAC in an entirely different way. Super PACs right now either back candidates or causes. This super PAC's backing the will of the people. This would be the first ever super PAC that does strings unattached. Now, I got to find the person who's going to fund that. But I do think that there are wealthy people in this country that are afraid of what's going on. And if I can get a consortium or one of them to put this up, they become our VC firm. They're the marketing department for that. So the way we see, all of a sudden now is like, wow, one person doing this uncoordinated can orchestrate this. America's Main Street Party, the tech company, is actually a national party. So once we qualify as a national party, then the winner of our contest is on the ballot. And then we use local political committees as like our retail outlets. They're the people who are executing this, like Olympic organizing committees that figure out who's the fastest 100-yard dash people. These are not people with power. They're people who are helping a process go along. And then the last type of committee is a candidate committee. And we put rules around that candidate committee can't live beyond one election cycle. So there's no war chest. So the contest winner, as a condition to get the super PAC backing for the big expensive ad campaign, has to agree to empty their account at the end of the general election cycle. So now, we basically, this is the engineer part here. We design control systems. I was looking at how do we take the laws and use them to design a control system here and restore our power. Take the power away from the candidate committee and give the power to the voters.
Hiring the right people shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Smart Hire Solutions LLC, they take a smarter, more human approach to hiring. Smart Hire Solutions helps you get the right candidates, carefully vets, presents only the best fits for sales roles, lead technicians, key team members, in-home services, construction, and many more. No resume pile nightmares, no wasted time. Today's labor market is tough to navigate, and having the Smart Hire Solutions LLC team on board makes it smooth sailing. Founder Tina McKenna brings decades of real-world experience, not only in recruiting, but in marketing. She runs this thing like a business that's involved with you. Check out their fresh approach at yoursmarthire.com. That's yoursmarthire.com. Or connect with Tina McKenna on LinkedIn. That's Tina McKenna with Smart Hire Solutions, LLC, yoursmarthire.com. All right. So you've implemented this. Has it worked anywhere yet?
No, we have not implemented. So in the life
Not
cycle where we are, so last year, it's taken a while. There's a lot of laws around getting money into this, and just to get enough money
No.
to pay the legal fees.
Are
and
you
all
saying
that
we got? Are you saying we got a lot of laws here in America? Wow. Oh
well,
my
around
God.
political parties are a lot. I can only put in 5,000 a year. Now my mom puts it in, my daughter. So more than 5,000. I've had friends and family, kind of like a startup. Make donations. Everybody I bought cookies from has to donate. I'm called in every chip to get money into this to build a prototype first using college kids at the guy who wrote the specs, the guy from Harvard College, and then some guys from Drexel who wrote the code. And we built a prototype. And then we've just stood up a beta version. It's actually on the app, on our website. It's pretty clunky, but our goal is to not use this in an election until the public understands what it is, and we raise enough money to win. I'm not about losing. And if you go into the app, you can see there's 100 candidates in each side. There's 2 districts. One's red, one's blue. It's PA1, PA2, Philadelphia districts. And we seated 100 candidates. And if you're in a conservative district, you probably have mostly conservative candidates or some liberal ones. And if you go into the blue district, likewise. And the way this works, Chris, is that the local committee will put 7 issues that the contestants have to weigh in on before they enter. Can't come in unless you know where you stand. That's the rule. So those questions, you look at the website, you go to mainstreetparty.org, a brand new way, halfway down, you see there's a little thing where you can, in probably a minute, weigh in, maybe on all 7, but maybe 3 or 4 of those things are really important for you. The system will go back and say, hey, these 20 candidates match to you. You could go check them out, or you could approve them all and see who makes the top 20. Because we're lazy, right? And wouldn't you be happy if you say, hey, these 4 issues are really important to me, and I want to see which of these 20 people make it to the top 20. You invested 2 minutes in democracy, had more voice than you probably ever had in an election, and now you see is in the top 20. Okay, maybe 6 or 7. You could study those candidates, or you could approval vote them in. But we want to get to the top 4 and then create what we're calling a virtual town hall where the local committee introduces new questions. The final 4 candidates get to weigh in. Again, video, this is all online. And at that point, we're looking at different voting methods, maybe ranked choice or pick 2 or approval voting to get to a top 2, have a final debate, pick a top 1. Now, imagine that we've just gone through a 5-round contest. The people participated, picked this candidate. We go to the general election. Who are you going to vote for? The one that people picked or the one the party picked? Somebody who doesn't represent necessarily the values of the district anymore and is beholden to donors. This person is beholden to voters.
So you would be on the ballot. So if I was sitting in Johns Creek, Georgia, which that's not hypothetical, I am. Thank you. Just letting you know that, Alan. Yeah. You're saying that for an election, pick a like Secretary of State, you would it would be just for what? District?
My whole mission is about gerrymandering. So we're only interested in running this in gerrymandered districts.
Okay. All right. So you go into
that's
district.
Interesting.
So you're saying a Republican candidate would be on the ticket, a Democrat would be on the ticket, maybe a Libertarian would be on the ticket, seen those, but you're saying you'd be the 4th one.
Well, we hope, and what happens typically in gerrymandered districts are not competitive. What you're describing is what happens in swing districts. In gerrymandered districts, in the general election, there's usually somebody on the party, there's a Republican or Democrats running pretty close to uncompetitive. So we're looking for districts where the person is winning and they have at least 66% of the vote. Because our system is going to elevate a pink candidate in a red district. And if we split the vote, we don't want the opposition party to win. In fact, we don't want the opposition party to have much of a hope. We want them to participate in the contest and try to get a pink candidate in there because they've never gotten a blue one, and vice versa in the blue districts. Our plan is to run this in 10 blue, 10 red. 20 blue, 20 red, always an equal number. We can't be viewed as somebody who's coming in looking like we're trying to swing Congress. We're going to be coming in looking as we're putting competition where there typically isn't any, and restoring accountability on the extremes. This is a system that competes with the extremes.
All right. So now let's put our business hat on here. You said you're trying to run this like a business. You're raising the funds to get this thing going. I put this into a gerrymandered district. Now you got to get out there. You got to promote it. You got to get people to be aware of it. So that's marketing and advertising costs, right? You got to bring people to the table to build. So how do you do that?
Well, I don't do that until when I say we do this like a business goes one step of the plan. They don't jump to step 10 if they haven't done step 3. And that's what I'm saying is that we're building the beta version. The beta version will create traction. The traction should attract the super donor. The super donor pays for the marketing program. And we're not looking for candidates. We're looking for districts. So the super PAC will say, hey, I'm going to fund, let's say 10. Okay, we're going to say which 5 red, which 5 blue. Now you're going to go in there, say 3 months in advance of their primary process, and start to do public service announcements. Say, hey, we need people to think about running for Congress. It's a brand new way. We want people to be on our local committee. Do your civic duty. This is what happened. In 2 months, you need to have your campaigns in. We got to have our volunteers together. We need to know how we're going to execute this process. And if they don't get their act together, we won't run in that district. I've run enough projects that, you just don't want to fail. We'll put our resources where we're going to succeed. So that's why I say, go 10 and 10, 20 and 20, whatever. We're probably not going to pull off 20 and 20. When we actually get to the point, maybe the public doesn't show up for some of them. I think that before the super PAC puts their money up, they could say, hey, if this primary doesn't attract 100,000 participants, we may not back. You have to show that you've got public support. Or maybe the district just hates it and they bail. We're not going to make the super PAC back a candidate there.
You get 1 or 2 though, and then the media starts covering it, and then all of a sudden it spreads like wildfire. I mean, I'm assuming that's the idea.
Yeah. So, and then we're going. I want to do. I think we're out for 2026. So just not the technology, it's just the organizing and the money. Unless like a super PAC donor shows up tomorrow, I just don't see how we do this. But we'd have time to really figure this out and do it for 2028. Maybe do 20 and 20.
So let me ask the stupid questions because I'm really good at that.
Sure.
It sounds like you're saying that you're creating a new political party, but what it sounds like to me is you're coming up with a new primary system.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so you have to get that district to agree to have a different kind of primary, or is your primary in advance of the actual primary?
But we're going to run it in parallel. But the district, we're doing this outside the system. The problem is that people are trying to change the system, and the people running the system don't want to change it. There's no law
the truth? We've
preventing
seen
us.
a lot of that.
There's no law preventing us from coming up with a different nominating process. You can form a political party and do it the way they do it, where they get in the back room and they figure out who has all the money, and they like that process. We're following a political process as we use technology and an app to let the people choose.
So it isn't that you have to find candidates who want to be part of the Main Street Party. It's by being in your system, regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat, then that gets you on the ballot in the primary. Is that
no. Well, eventually when we qualify, we don't want to be on the primary. We want to go straight to the general election.
Okay.
The primary is rigged. Why participate in that system?
Primaries are rigged. All right. So you're running in parallel, and then you get enough people. How do you get your name on the ballot? How do you do that?
Well, when you qualify, so we would eventually qualify as a national party, and then you automatically get your name on the ballot. Before we qualify, we get on with signatures. So there's a deadline in every state that you have to get so many signatures to get your name on the ballot. We'd be on the ballot as independents. I really don't see it as a problem because people will know at this point that this is a Main Street Party candidate. And in different states have different requirements. You are in the worst state. Okay, Florida might be worse. You have to have something like 23,000 signatures to get on the ballot. It's probably very unlikely that we're going to come to your state because there's so many easier states. There's so many gerrymandered districts that why go where it's hard? We will find the lowest hanging fruit. But we'll take your donations if you're thinking about it.
All right. I like that. Can donate. That's America's Main Street Party.org. Send your money in, Super PAC people.
But No, that's the way the system works. And I decided instead of trying to reform the system, is just try to break it enough that we can fix it. Because as long as we're a two-party system, it's not going to change. And I think they've proven that they can almost fight off all election reform. This more or less obviates it. It says that, hey, we're going to work outside the system, create a way to make something more popular through 5 rounds, and then advertise that person and win. And I do think this is a winning formula. You think about the Olympics. I mean, there are people that, are participating in something, and all of a sudden, their name and you're buying their products, and, you're doing that. And it happens because it's multiple iterations. And anybody entering the primary now has no chance to be like a quarterfinalist and then a semifinalist and a finalist. It's one and done. And the person who's coming in to run as the incumbent has an enormous advantage unless they betrayed the party and now huge money comes in to back somebody more extreme and they get primaried. That's not fair.
In your beta test, how have you run candidates and consumers and people signing up for it? How do you build your audience to come in and vote for these people? How did you try candidates out? I'm keep going. Like I was about to say the word.
These are all AI.
We
have to get on and play with it, but it's basically the app has a bunch of AI candidates on there we've actually selected the position so that as you go through, it's going to feel like it would feel if you're a liberal in a conservative district and you're trying to figure out how to get pink candidates out there, or even if you're a conservative, like you might not be as conservative as who's representing you. And this gets to say, hey, on Iran, this is really where I am. On borders, this is really where I am. I'm not going to be chastised for having this somewhat moderate position because a lot of people in the district agree with me that we shouldn't be so extreme on some of these things. And it works the same on the left, so we actually have both districts in a blue and a red and 100 candidates. And as you click through the rounds, it reduces down to 20, down to 10. And we want people to kind of play with it and know what it's going to be like before we try to do it in election. Because if we try it out and they don't know, we're going to fail.
I think what I heard, Alan, was that he is developing AI candidates, and very soon we're going to have an AI person and governor.
No, these are obviously, it's so funny because when you do this, the AI generates like, you're fine. But no, because it's really a lot of work to make the audio tie in. It's like, so our people, you just kind of get the impression this is what's going to look like. But it's huge data to like actually have them speaking and stuff like this. It's just a representation. The bios are AI. Some of them don't make sense. We had like a 72-year-old woman who's a truck driver. So, that's AI. But
got it.
So your next step right now is to find somebody with deep pockets to fund this thing.
Yeah. Well, to fund the super PAC, to do the technology piece of this, at least what we've done now is not hugely expensive. To lay in the security layer is going to be expensive in terms of like this would be implemented over the blockchain. There's 3 different secure mobile voting platforms out there now that are pretty robust, and they've been used for military applications. I was really surprised how mature. It's not used in volume in our voting system, but many states have accepted these for like people with handicaps or veterans for sure, or not veterans, service members, people on subs. You can't get a ballot out, so they want to make sure these people can vote. And it makes sure it looks at you and it turns your phone into a ballot box. And we are doing this with everything. We're gambling, we're doing money, and this idea that foreign actors have another gear to take votes that they don't have to take money. That has to be the silliest thing I ever heard. Like, people don't want money more than votes, especially our system where the votes don't really count that much.
This is super interesting. You're getting the word out. You obviously came on the podcast because you wanted to talk to everybody and get the word out in the America's a Main Street Party.
Yep. Don't look at me. Look at him.
I'm not looking at you, Alan.
You were.
I was.
Every place has a Main Street. It could be big, small, left, right, but everybody's got to meet on Main Street and come together. And that's kind of the idea, is that we got to meet in the middle and negotiate and compromise. And we don't do that anymore, and we're dysfunctional.
Amen to that. and Chris and I talk about this all the time. And I mean, you grab, I don't know, 10 people at random. And my guess is you're still going to agree on 80-90% of things that you talk about, to be honest with you.
We do talk about that quite a bit. Is that
to excite donors? Like, I do think we've created a system where politicians have to excite donors and perform for them on TV.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is a system we created, and they're just responding to it. There's been a lot of like normal people. You say, oh, this person might be normal, go to Congress, and 2 years later, they look just like another partisan jackass.
It makes me wonder what happens when you get to Washington. They pull you aside and like, all right.
It is that. They do. They're doing, because the way the money works, if they want to get reelected, they have to do the bidding of the party leadership. That is not at all how the system was designed.
So are you walking around with like security detail now as you get out there and get your name out there?
I wish it was that popular. I mean, the best reception I'm getting is from podcast hosts. I've been on almost 50 podcasts in 90 days. Just started marketing this. Just started. The mainstream media, I cannot get any coverage. I've been trying to market the mainstream media for over a year. You know, in the face of gerrymandering and everything we're doing, and the fact that, I'm not, I'm not anybody, but I'm not nobody in terms of doing something and implementing a successful system. And what I'm saying makes a lot of sense mathematically. And there's no ears for it. And when you go up into the major media markets.
You mentioned that. Let's talk a little bit about that battle, because you're right. That's the big stage. Obviously, we're big time. We're a big deal. I know that, but let's face it, we're not.
No, we're kind of a big deal.
We're kind of a big deal, but we are not mainstream media, and that's a big deal. So how are you trying to infiltrate that? There's a small businessman, somebody who's been through that, entrepreneur. Talk us through how you're trying to take this idea and get it to somebody who may be not receptive to it, but it's going to help you get the word out.
I did something novel here, is that I formed two organizations. One is Wilson's Fountain. Wilson's Fountain is named for James Wilson. James Wilson wrote the Constitution. You probably never heard of him. James Wilson was one of the first Supreme Court justices, one of 6 founders to sign both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
I feel really
the words,
bad right
"We
now.
The People." He died bankrupt. Is
he talking about the US?
What?
Are you talking about the U.S.?
Yes.
No, we're feeling pretty dumb. Yeah. Clearly,
Nobody heard of him. I say this never. You're not the only ones. He got
okay, good. Now I feel as dumb as everybody else. Ha! Take that, everybody.
My joke is that there's no statue of James Wilson to tear down.
That's actually funny.
All right.
But anyway, he wrote the Constitution in 1787. 3 years later, the legislature of Pennsylvania, where he was from, Philadelphia, tapped him to rewrite the Pennsylvania Constitution. And when he did, and he wrote a particular clause, in 1689, the British in the British Bill of Rights first added the words that elections shall be free. When Wilson was poised to do this for the Pennsylvania Constitution, he added the words "unequal." And his determination, that it wasn't enough that everybody could run for office. It had to be fair. If it wasn't fair, things got messed up.
What's the point?
What happened was, at the end of the year, around Christmas, he did what became the inaugural law lecture at the city of Philadelphia College, which became the University of Pennsylvania. It's the first law lecture at the University of Pennsylvania. The keynote topic was the free and equal election law or clause. And he described it as the fountain of democracy. And he said, if you don't, with great vigor, make sure that fountain, it poison the fountain. If you don't free and equal election, it's poison, and it poisons all aspects of government. It spills over into every branch and administrative. He had some description for it. And you see where we are now with unfair elections. That
So I'm going to go back to my first question again. Back, how are you getting your name out there? And you said I have 2 companies, and you brought up Wilson. We went up that.
And what I can do is I can use Wilson's Fountain. I'm sorry, I have to tell that story because it's like fascinating. That
I'm totally fascinated. I'm dying.
Wilson's Fountain LLC is a way where I can put money into this and promote the concept, but it's kind of like Fight Club. I can't mention America's Main Street Party. I can promote Wilson's Fountain as a political concept, but I can't advertise for Main Street Party. So my budget in Wilson's Fountain can be as large as I'd like it to be, as long as I don't mention America's Main Street Party. And I do have the advantage that I have resources to put into this and get the word out. But it's still an uphill battle. I spend way more money than a typical small business would spend to try to get the word out without success. And, but I'll just be
You just need that
persistent.
one person. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you've been on 50 podcasts. There's going to be somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So again, I'm gonna go back to this, kind of the business side of this a little bit more. How do you get the main media to follow America's Main Street Party?
It needs to go viral somehow.
Yes.
And then the Main Street media can't ignore it because they're not.
And I'm hoping I hope that the beta version of the app, like when we get that people trying it and getting it out and people looking at it and looking at what's going on in the primary, that people are going to say, hey, we want this. But yeah, it's been, I don't know why. I mean, you think that somebody want to break a story.
I know. I think radical idea. What if we had somebody go streaking through Wilson's Fountain? Sorry, I couldn't resist. I had to do that. But I think that's the hard part because the way people start to hear it, we're consuming so much media in so many different ways. I was just listening to another radio show here locally that talked about, when we were kids and going to date ourselves, we had 3 channels, right? Mm-hmm. And you had ABC, NBC, CBS. I had the 4th channel because I was in Detroit. I got the Canadian Broadcasting Channel, Go Hockey Night in Canada, Don Cherry. But our media, if you will, your media focus was newspaper, radio, and then TV is the 3 channel. Mm-hmm. Today, those guys are dwindling in share of mind share because you've got social media and all these other different things. How do you get an idea like this to go? And it's got to be that viral sensation. It's got to be something like that. So what do you do?
I think I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. I do think that without a super PAC, that the inertia for what we need to do, it won't be possible. So I do think it requires just keep marketing the idea until we, like Don said, we get across or Alan, across.
I mean, as far as the story goes, we went down that tangent. I mean, to put my marketing hat on for a minute, I do like the Wilson's Fountain angle. I do like the fact that you found the forgotten founder, if you will, the guy who championed for free elections and free will. And so Alan's back, and Alan, I'll say it again, I gave Tom a gold nugget, and that is we should have somebody go streaking through Wilson's Fountain, and that would be the way to go. I mean, that goes viral. Like, do we have a fountain?
Are you volunteering?
I think I'm in. I'll do it.
All right.
Actually, what I'm looking at doing is sponsoring. Easy. There's a gala there's a celebration of the 250th anniversary of the country in Philadelphia that an organization is sponsoring. I'm looking at Wilson's Fountain being a founding sponsor.
I love that idea. I like that angle. It actually, for me, I'm going to be totally honest with you, Tom. Here's what happened. 2 hours before our podcast, Alan says, have you looked up the podcast yet? Or you just think you're going to wing it?
Because 9 times out of 10, it's like,
and I'm like, uh-oh.
Kind of a big deal. I can wing it.
So I did. I've been researching it for 2 hours, and I'm like, oh God, this is really heady. And I mean, I hate that I even say that I've got a master's in mechanical engineering because he's going to think I'm really smart and I'm an idiot. And I was like, man, this is hard to understand.
The audience knows you're dumb.
Yeah, they do. So, but I would tell you, like the phrase is gerrymandering and how you're going about it. I think that's hard for a lot of us to digest and figure out what's going on. Yeah. The Wilson's Fountain story makes it a lot more interesting. I find like I could get behind that story a lot easier going, hey, you're right. I never thought about it, but the elections aren't free. You're right; they are bought. I've watched them here locally get bought, and I've watched that the money talks and the bullshit walks. I mean, it's horrible. But have I thought enough and cared enough to do anything about it? No, but you have. And Tom Joseph, this is pretty cool, man. So let's get that word out there. Let's keep doing it. We're going to wrap up this podcast. Let's go, Wilson's Fountain. But we're going to give money to. Go ahead, hit it.
mainstreetparty.org. You can support us 2 ways. Click on the change.org button and sign our petition. That's one way to show traction. We have some really cool merch on our website. If you go to the donate button, we have stickers. I like our little slogan. I don't know if you saw this. You can give me some feedback. But our fringe group is extremely moderate.
I love that. Oh, you know what? That's merch I can get around.
Yeah. Okay.
That is hilarious. Our fringe group is extremely moderate.
All right. So you said 2 ways to support it, 3 ways.
Well, I said go to the donate button or hit the change.org button. So either way.
Well, and I think there's a third way to support, which is
liking, following, yes, doing all the
no,
things.
and there's a fourth way. You got to tell other people. You got to find somebody. You got to find an influencer that you know that is going to find the right person to help get this thing out there.
Are you guys on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Are you?
Yes, we do all those things, but I think you're right. We have to find influencers, like people like you guys. I mean, podcasts are influencers and other people that are influencers. And I think it's grassroots. And I think once we start getting some traction, then the media can't really ignore you.
Right.
But
and I hate to say it because I'm not a big fan of Hollywood. I love Hollywood, but the whole Hollywood political thing. But you find one celebrity who's suddenly like, I was looking at this Main Street, and then
you know what, Tom, for you, I'll tell Rogan about you, and I'll let you see if he can give you a couple minutes on the show, because he and I are tight as fellow podcasters. One of us pioneered the industry, the other one took advantage of it. So I don't know who did what. I don't know.
I'll take referrals. That's how I built Bookminders. Is all referral business.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, this is. It's a big endeavor. It is definitely the little guy making a big difference, but isn't that how our country was founded?
There's a nobility to it that you don't see.
And a nobility to it. And I say, for God's sakes, remember James Wilson.
While you're streaking through the fountain.
I'm going streaking through that fountain. I'm going to go make that fountain, and I'm going to say I'm streaking through the fountain, and my fringe group is moderate. Guys, this has been awesome. You know what? Think about your own business. Think about when you had a biz and you had a business plan and you said, hey, I'm going to start this business. And did somebody ever sit there and go, you're out of your tree. You're tilting at a windmill there, Don Quixote. What are you doing? No. Everybody said, oh, God, great idea. Oh, it's a $100, $1 million idea. Oh, you're going to make a ton of money at it. Nobody ever said, wow, I think you're a little nuts. And I wish people would have said that, because I want people to say he's a little nuts, because I think that's how things get done and that's how shit gets done.
All the great stories are people that didn't accept the status quo.
Let's do it. I love it.
My family thought I was crazy for leaving the engineering degree to start a bookkeeping service, honestly.
I 100% I identify with that, Tom. Now you can tell me, suck it. And don't forget to give me a lot of money at Wilson's Fountain. Guys, Tom Joseph, America's mainstreetparty.org. Go get the word out. If you think something rang with you on that, hit me up, Chris at the Trusted Toolbox. I'll get to Tom, and we'll get you guys hooked up, because this is definitely an effort that you might be able to make a difference in, because that's the other way you make a difference. In groups that are small like this and you get in, your impact is felt a lot bigger than if you go with some of the bigger parties. Go out there, make a difference. Keep it up that mountaintop. Man, success is right around the corner. You just don't know which corner it's going to be. Let's do it. Get out of here.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day.